Hey, so I want to talk a bit more about uh, how I regained my health after a long period of illness and what it took to actually get me to do the work that needed to be done to regain my health and live a healthy life once more. And when I say healthy life, I'm not talking about go out for a jog 3 times a week, take your vitamins and all that bull crap. I'm talking about actual health, thriving, energy. What a human being in its natural environment, eating natural, good food, in tune and in harmony with nature and the world around it. I'm talking about that kind of health. And this was the first time that I had ever experienced that. So let me go back a little bit. In my first videos, I went over my story in quite a bit of detail. So if you want to, you can go and check that out. But in short, I at the age of 24, about 5 years ago now, 23 or 24, I figured out that I was just intensely sick, just incredibly sick. It had started as really bad eczema, but it had expanded, and it had become something that had no name. I went to doctors and they were just like, wow, you just have really bad eczema and allergies, and your eyesight is failing, and your digestion is out of whack, and your hormones are just not working the way they're supposed to, and you're depressed and anxious, and like everything that could possibly be wrong with a person was what was wrong with me. And I now realize that it's all interconnected. You don't get one of these without so many others. And what ended up happening was that I was in such a state of disrepair, I was in such a state of bad health, that I was just ready to take my own life, because I just couldn't go on living like that. I just had to make a drastic change. And I went to Sicily, where my father lived at the time. He had an extra room that he let me stay in, and I thought that the climate would do me good. I'd get a bit of sun, a bit of fresh produce for once. Living in Iceland, you don't always get the freshest of food, although you'd be surprised. I didn't tell my father when I came that I intended to fast until death or health. And it's a bit gruesome when I put it like that, but that is the truth. That is what I was thinking. And fortunately, my fast ended in health. I discovered that fasting was a way of just curing everything. It's like it just gave my body the chance, the space, the time to just rest and recuperate. And in fact, that is what fasting actually is, and what it does. It I used to think of fasting as a sort of technology that humans had somehow created and evolved, but now I understand it more as just a feature of the human body. It's just like a reset button kind of on a computer. You just stop putting the food into your stomach, and the body then goes into a mode of what's called autophagy, which is a mode where damaged or toxic cells and tissues are broken down and eliminated from the body. And this goes on as long as the fast goes on, and there are different stages of fasting. The deeper you go into fasting, the more powerful the autophagic effects are. And it's also cumulative. So if you're doing a couple of days of fasting, and then a couple of days of eating, then 2 more days of fasting, this stacks on top of each other, and the body breaks down the diseased tissue, and as you eat healthy and nutritious food once more, then the tissues that were broken down will be replaced with new healthy tissues. So that's the general idea. There are all kinds of other effects as well, such as increased growth hormone, human growth hormone, which I found to be incredibly satisfying as I started having more energy to work out and stuff. And I just started getting naturally ripped and bulky, even though I'm not, I'm pretty lean at the moment, but I managed to put on a lot of muscle from eating, once a day with longer fasts interspersed. So, there's a lot to fasting, and it seems kind of counterintuitive in our culture to think that eating less will somehow make you more healthy, make you stronger, give you more energy, but it's the truth. And I don't know how this has been kept under wraps for so long. I don't understand how, when you're sick, you go to your doctor and he tells you to eat 3 square meals a day, take this medicine, go out for a walk or some crap. I don't understand how that has been the modus operandi for so long, even though fasting has been with us since the dawn of time. So anyway, what I really wanted to talk about in this video was what was required of me to actually put everything that I had learned about fasting and an austere diet into practice. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy and it wasn't simple. Well, it was simple, but it wasn't easy. For me, I think I had just reached rock bottom there. I was so sick and I was so depressed and I was so despairing and hopeless for my life that I was just like, I'll do anything. I'll do anything as a last shot to regain my health. And luckily it was the correct shot. But it was actually what all of my research had led me to believe, that simplification is king. In order to regain health, you need to simplify once more. You won't find a simpler health practice than fasting. Fasting is literally don't eat, don't eat and rest, It's so simple and so easy once you get the hang of it. But the main thing that stopped me and stops most of us is fear. And this is fear that has been indoctrinated into us by a society that says, 3 square meals a day, snacks in between, never stop eating, basically. And they try to sell you the KFC and the sugar and all the candy and all this stuff, which pushes your insulin out of whack and makes you constantly crave more food. And this is not a natural state for a human being, which I realized after I started doing a lot of fasting and eating a lot of healthy fats and animal products, which is what works for me. I don't, speak for any particular diet, because I know we're all different and whatever works for me may not work for the next person. So I do understand that, and I do respect that, People just have to figure this out for themselves, really. But that's really the key, Stop listening to all these gurus. Stop listening to all these doctors. Stop with the vegan diet, with the Atkins, with the keto, with the paleo and all this stuff. Many of them have their merits, others don't. They're all ideologies. And they may be from people who mean well, but in the end, somebody is making money off of your dietary choices. But let me say this. Fear was what stopped me from going into fasts, into hardcore fasting, the way I did. But it was also fear, in a way, that got me to finally go through with it and finally give it my all. The fear of never being able to heal in any other way. Everything else had failed. All of the allopathic drugs, all of the traditional homeopathic medicines I had been taking, the juice fasts, the vegan, the raw, the paleo diet, all of this had failed me. It didn't heal me. It didn't, some of them helped me, and I definitely, obviously you feel better eating healthy, nutritious food. than if you're following the standard American or Western diet, abbreviated SAD for SAD, which is incredibly poignant, I would say. But yeah, fear really helped me get through it. And then actually fear was just the sort of lighter fluid, As soon as I got the fire started, as soon as I finished the 10-day fast, I was like, man, I feel so much better. I'm 60% cured. I just have to go on like this and I'll figure it out and I'll be healthy again. As soon as I realized that was all the motivation I needed. I didn't need any more motivation. I didn't need any more fear. I had no more fear. Well, there was a little bit of fear, maybe I would just accidentally starve or I was just a sack of skin and bones after the 10-day fast, and especially after that entire summer, I had lost like 15 kilos off of a frame that didn't carry much excess weight to begin with. So, there were scary aspects to it, but in the end, I don't think that harmed me at all. I think that was exactly what was needed. I had all of this tissue, muscles and fat and even bone that were just stuffed with toxic chemicals from pharmaceuticals I had been taking throughout the years, which needed to go. And by fasting and by replacing the tissues that were broken down with healthy tissues through adequate nutrition, and more importantly, with foods that were A, natural and healthy, and B, which I could digest. It's not enough for something to be nutritional. It has to be digestible by you specifically. And what one person may digest well and thrive on may be poison to somebody else. For an example, take somebody of Chinese or Asian heritage whose ancestors did not drink milk or eat milk products. They will in many cases lack the lactase enzyme that breaks down milk proteins that Northern Europeans will very easily be able to digest. Like myself, I thrive on yogurt and skyr, which is a Icelandic milk product, sort of blend between a cheese and a yogurt. Cheeses and all this stuff, this goes very well into my stomach and many other Northern Europeans. Not everybody, but I'm just saying this is something to keep in mind. Your heritage matters in this regard. So, a final point, which is incredibly important, and I'm somewhat reticent to actually speak about this because I don't want to. It's deeply personal for one thing, but it's also the fact that this topic has some has a bit of a taboo around it. I prayed a lot, and I'm not Christian. I'm quite spiritual, definitely, but I'm not Christian. But I started reading the Bible and I started praying to the Abrahamic God, or no, not really. It was more of just like some conception of a higher power. I started praying to that, and I was just like, please, God, whatever you are or whoever you are, help me do what I need to do to regain my health. And that got me through the most difficult periods. I don't think I would have been able to get through the 10-day fast, the first one especially, if I hadn't been praying every single morning and every single night and a few times in between even. It was a way to keep myself sane. So finding that divine connection can really, really help you. And whatever you're, if you're religious or not, you're atheist. I've been atheist most of my life, recently turned more sort of, or recently, no, sorry. Let me start again. My parents were both atheists. My mother was actually Buddhist, but quite atheistic in the way she approached the world. My father was a hardcore atheist, very derisive of any and all religion, and spirituality for that matter. So that's the way I grew up. And then as I grew older, I started to realize, like, wow, there is more to life than just physics and chemistry. There is more here. Started dabbling in psychedelics and in dreams and meditation and all this stuff, and I started realizing, like, wow, there is more to this. So I turned kind of agnostic / spiritual, and now I'm very much spiritual. I do believe in... I don't believe in anything, really. I go by direct experience, and I've directly experienced divinity in my life. So that's all I need. And take that whatever way you want. But it really got me through some difficult times. Since I'm on this topic, I may as well leave you with a quote. Well, not a direct quote because I can't remember it, but it's from the Bible, the New Testament, I believe, where Jesus meets a person who is very ill. I think it's some kind of mental disease more than something physical. It's not a leper or anything like that. It's more like somebody who's psychotic. And Jesus says to him, after he's been asked to heal this man, he says to him, this kind of illness or this kind of demon can only be exorcised through prayer and fasting. It's something like that. Can't remember the exact quote. But this, this really got me through, like, the first few long fasts that I did. Started seeing my illness as a kind of demon that I was exercising from myself. And I think this kind of, putting a face on this thing, this illness that's ruining your life, turning it into an entity that you are actively fighting, that really helped me. So I'll leave you with that. Stay healthy. Fast. Eat healthy. And take responsibility for your own life and your own health. Peace.